لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome my brothers and sisters to tonight's talk. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless you all and to make you of those who are gifted with the understanding of His deen, to make us of those who apply what we learn, and to make us a cause for guidance for others. My brothers, the hadith that we're going to talk about tonight, I will mention it in Arabic and then we'll begin with it. عن الحسن بن علي سبط رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وريحانته قال حفظت من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك رواه الترمذي وقال حديث حسن صحيح. الحسن bin Ali, who was also known as Abu Muhammad. Sibt refers to the grandson from the daughter. He said that I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, leave what you are in doubt of to that which you are not in doubt of. Before I move on to talk about this hadith, just a little bit about al-Hasan bin Ali radiAllaahu anhumaa. Al-Hasan, he was born year 3 after Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, 1 year before al-Hussein. He grew up in the hands of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and was raised to be a regular to the mosque of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So from his very early days, he was blessed with the companionship of Rasulullah, besides to being a relative of his, and also of being raised by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the early years, and the companions collectively. So he had a lot of great virtues, this honorable companion, who is from the family household of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He's from the household of the Prophet. He became the Khalifa after Alee ibn Abee Taalib died, and he gave up on his position in order to make peace between the Muslims, and that was truly what happened. It caused a lot of peace, and this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once said about him. He said, my son is a sayyid, he's a master, he's a leader, he's a chief, and he will cause peace between two groups of the Muslims. And he only narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam 13 hadeeth. 13. That's all he narrated. But this is not any reason why we'll belittle him. Despite the fact he directly narrates 13 hadeeth, he's also still known to be from the great scholars who taught so much knowledge and passed it on to us. And the companions used to benefit from him, and the students of the companions used to benefit from him. He died year 50 after Hijrah at the age of 46 and was buried in al-Baqiyah in Medina al-Munawwarah. Now this hadith, my brothers, is a very important hadith. It settles so many of the differences, and it causes the person to have direction even while he's in doubt. And even when you're confused, this hadith teaches you how to get out of confusion by leaving that which you're in doubt of to what you are not in doubt of. Now whenever a person applies this hadith, he will be in a state of psychological well-being. He'll be at peace. He doesn't have this struggle with himself. And also he will be gifted with inner peace. With inner peace. Because the continuation of the hadith describes that the good is what causes the soul and the inner person to be relaxed. So by applying this command, you get into a state of inner peace. Now let's talk about this and get into detail about it. Now, the word Rasulullah, the command of Rasulullah, da' ma yuribuk, leave what you're in doubt of. Does it indicate obligation or recommendation? Who would like to share the answer with me here? Is it a sign of, is it the command here, is it to indicate that which is obligatory or that which is recommended? Recommended. That is the most correct view, that it's recommended to do this. And this is what al-Mannawi, he describes, and this seems to be the most correct view, Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Now, let's take some examples from the Sahaba and how they applied this. Once Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiAllaahu anhu, he had some food given to him. And after he ate it, he found out that this food was from the earnings of the haram in the pre-Islamic times. And the individual who offered him the food made this money unlawfully in the pre-Islamic times. He said to Abu Bakr, he said, I got these earnings from kahana, from fortune telling that I did in the pre-Islamic times. He said, despite the fact I'm not a good fortune teller and I can't perfect it and I can't do it properly like the real ones do it, despite the fact it's all wrong, it's all haram, and it's all falsehood. But he said, I did not know how to do it, and I pretended to know how to do fortune telling. So I got paid for it. And this is from it, this food. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, out of his great cautiousness from the haram, he forced himself to vomit. Despite the fact, from an Islamic perspective, from a ruling perspective, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq wasn't required to do so. But his cautiousness caused him to go to that extent of freeing himself of that which he is in doubt of. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once, while he was at home, in his house, he was about to eat a date. And as he reached it to his mouth, he remembered that it could be from the man, from the charity that was given to be passed on. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wasn't allowed to eat from charity. They're not allowed to, prophets, and he wasn't allowed to. So he removed it out of the fear of what? That it is from the charity. He wasn't certain. So this is just an example from Rasulullah, an example from Abu Bakr. Abu Dhar, he said, تمام التقوى ترك بعض الحلال خوفا أن يكون حراما. From the perfection and the greatness of taqwa is that an individual leaves some of that which is halal out of the possibility of the haram being in it. We're not saying to be doubtful for no reason. No, where there is doubt, he said from the perfection of your taqwa and iman is that you leave it out of your cautiousness. And from what has been narrated to us is an incredible story that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us about. And this is the story where he said that once a man bought from another man a property, a real estate. And that person who bought the property, the purchaser, after they've exchanged and he took the money and it's been settled, he found in his house some treasure, some gold. So he went to the person who sold him the house and he said to him that I found this in my house and it doesn't belong to me. So the man replied to him saying, no, I sold you the house and what is in it. So they will both dispute and a judge will decree between them and decide that he will ask, do you have children? They said yes. They will reply yes, or they did reply yes. This story happened, and there's one it's similar that happens as a sign of the hour. But this one was mentioned in the form of the past that it happened. So it was said to both of them, do you have children? They replied, yes. That judge said to them, marry off your children with this money. Now this was left by both sides out of their cautiousness, out of the fear that it's not theirs. So they left it. The one who bought the house, he did not agree with him on that thing, or hasn't been mentioned. And the one who sold it was under the impression that I sold the house and what's in it. So it shows you an example on how far people will go, where there is reasons to doubt, where there are reasons to doubt. My brothers and sisters in Islam, it's important to understand that this ruling requires understanding. What I mean by that? A person should not be by default someone who allows doubt to creep into him, and as a result he leaves things and he moves on in his life, not wanting to learn and saying, I'm doubtful, I'm doubtful, I'm doubtful, I'm doubtful, I'm doubtful, and causing his life to be nothing but prohibitions and disallowances. This is not the intention of the hadith. Rather, what is intended from the hadith is that where the person can't reach the ruling for any reason, or it's one of the topics where there are differences and there is doubt, to stay away from it out of doubt. Also, it requires a great understanding at times to the best of the two goods. When you have two goods, it requires, to apply this ruling in the best way, you need to know the best of the two goods. Ibn Taymiyyah Rahimahullah, he says, تمام الورع أن يعلم الإنسان خير الخيرين وشر الشرين. The completion of wara and cautiousness, and the perfection of cautiousness, is that the individual knows the best of the two goods and the worst of the two bads. And he goes on to apply this ruling accordingly. Let's take an example. Let's say there is a Muslim leader who is in a state of jihad. And he's a Muslim, and it's known, and he's showing the signs of it and all that. And then the time he's in jihad, and then you had it, now you were commanded to follow him or not. But this person is known to be a person who has bid'ah, or is in a state where he oppresses others, but he's still a Muslim. Ibn Taymiyyah gives an example that to know the best of the two is in this situation. Should you follow him or not? What would your answer be, brothers?
Depends what he's going for.
You're wrong. The best of the two is, would you allow the kuffar to be superior over the Muslims in that state?
No.
Would you allow them to be in a state where they could kill and remove the leader, and then the Muslims are in a state of loss of leadership? No. So therefore, knowing the best of the two goods here, as Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned, is to fight under his banner, so long that he is known to be a Muslim. Are you understanding the situation? Another example. Our brothers at times, with the excuse that he is a person of bid'ah, of innovation, they go on to leave the jama'ah altogether. They leave the mosque altogether, and as a result, what happens? The mosques are abandoned, the people of bid'ah rise, and the people of sunnah decrease, and therefore he has done the worst of the two and left the best of the two. Now we're talking here where the bid'ah doesn't bring the person out of the fold of Islam. To know here the situation, cautiousness, should I, shouldn't I? This is a situation where it requires knowledge, requires understanding. And I say this to you, my brothers and sisters. The more the person learns, the more he realizes the areas of doubt. Believe me. Yes, the more he grows in certainty, but the more he realizes the dangers of doubt, and he will know how to deal with it. And he will judge in a more safer way. Let's take another example, my brothers, and I hope these points are clear. Ibn Taymiyyah Rahimahullah, once he walked past a group of soldiers who were drinking alcohol. And he went quiet. And Ibn Taymiyyah was known to be someone who would call to good and forbid evil. And he wasn't that type that would shy out, and he was known to be someone who's firm on this. So his student told him, why don't you speak to them? Why don't you advise them? He said, leave them. Because when they're drinking, they're occupied from killing. Of course, now we're not saying that we will go on to assume the same for everyone who drinks alcohol, no. But he understood from knowing the hal, the state of the individuals, that here we have two bads, killing versus drinking. Of course, drinking would lead to killing, but it's still weaker. He said, no, weakness is better than strength at that time for them. So he went quiet. And this is something that you are required, my brothers, to learn about, to further your knowledge about, knowing of the best of the two goods and the worst of the two bads. We move on to also, my brothers, to say that this hadith is one of the evidences to the 5 major principles of Sharia. What do we mean by that? There are qawa'id. We call it in Arabic al-qawa'id al-shar'iyyah, the Islamic rulings. What the ulama have done, they've derived from the ahadith general lessons and general principles that can be used to be the basis for rulings. Do, don't, how to judge, and so on. Let's take an example. One of the main principles of Sharia, one of the 5 major ones, is, for example, the principle of darurat tubihu al-mahdhurat. Necessities dictates exceptions. This is a general ruling derived from the ayat and the ahadith. From the ayat, فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ غَيْرَ بَاغٍ وَلَا عَادٍ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. Okay? Now, this ruling is general. It tends to work as a principle to be applied to all necessities. Does it make sense? Another one, الضرورات تقدر بقدرها, which is a branch, not a main principle. الضرورات تقدر بقدرها. The necessities are to be taken within limits. So, wherever there's a necessity and the exception comes in, the exception shouldn't be taken all together where the ruling is removed. No. The exception should be taken with limitation to what's needed. So going back, these principles, for example, ضرورات تبيح المحظورات, اليقين لا يزول بالشك, okay, العبرة بالمقاصد والمعاني, and so on, are derived from ahadith and verses, and they tend to work very beneficial in rulings. This hadith that I shared with you now, that is, leave what you're in doubt of to that which you are not in doubt of, is a proof to one of the major principles, and that is al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. Certainty cannot be removed with doubt. I repeat, certainty cannot be removed with doubt. Meaning that if you know something for sure, you cannot leave that which is certain to you because of something that is not proven for sure, that is doubtful. And this is what the hadith really teaches you. Leave what you're in doubt of to that which you're not in doubt of. And it means stick to what you're certain of and leave the doubtful matters. Are you understanding that? And this is a very important principle in the Sharia. And there's so much other hadeeth that prove it to be an important one. So for an example, to apply that principle and to apply this hadeeth, there's the ruling regarding purification. A person, he knows for sure he did wudu. He's certain 100% he did wudu. But there's doubt. Did he lose his wudu or not? There's doubt. But what he's sure about is what? He's got wudu. Based on this hadith, how would he react? Would he have to redo his wudu? Well, he can stick to the main principle, that is, leave what you're in doubt of to that which you're not in doubt of. Answer me. He will stick to the main principle that he's pure. It's up to him if he wants to go and do wudu there out of precaution also. But really the intention is going to be there, not because he's lost wudu, but to be certain. Are you understanding me? Are you understanding that? طيب. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he teaches us that if a person feels something in his prayer that's similar to letting air out, he should not leave his salah, not unless he smells or hears a sound. So in your prayer you felt something, you're not sure. If you didn't smell it, you didn't hear it, you continue your prayer. Because smell tends to be a way to be certain. Hearing is a way to become certain. So you're going to leave the prayer there because of certainty that came to you. And the same thing will apply to many, many rulings, whether we're talking about contracts, or whether we're talking about dealings between people, and so on. You do not go on to assume things to be as you wish. No. You will go off what you are more certain about. طيب. We move on now to an important one, and that is, this hadith is a base or an evidence that leaving that which scholars differed about to that which they didn't differ about is recommended. Meaning, you know that this topic, there's differences about it. Is it halal or haram? You know, there's some of them are saying this contract is halal, others say it's haram. Here, to stay out of doubt, it is better for you to avoid all that altogether. Why? Because this is what the hadith is advising you. Leave what you're in doubt of. But here it's very important to understand, and I hope these points are coming clear into your minds. My brothers, it's important to understand, at the end of the day, such principles, such talks help in giving you direction in life. And you should really set yourself to learn these principles and understand it correctly. Don't set yourself to be that individual who simply wants hyped up talks and lessons, and all he wants to be is laughing and crying. Set yourself to be a real, genuine seeker of knowledge who is given direction, who can learn that which will aid him in his day-to-day life, not only that which would make him at that moment feel good. And these principles are very important. The one I want to share with you now, this hadith is an indication that a person should leave that which is doubtful to that which is not doubtful. But this should not be taken in general. Meaning, this should not be done where there's a hadith that's clear, black and white about it. And there's the ulama, despite the fact they differed, they got different statements, there's a hadith that exists. Now when that hadith exists, and it reaches you, and it's based on correct understanding that it reaches you, it doesn't matter here all their differences, what they said, you would leave that to what is proven to you, and you will apply it. Are you understanding this? Because at the end of the day, the haqq is in that which is according to the evidences, Quran and Sunnah, based on the correct understanding, which is the understanding of who? the Salaf al-Salih. Are we understanding this topic? So where a person has differences and doubts, and it's confusing, Sahih is commanded there, for example, to leave the doubtful matter. Let's say it's an allowance, it's a rukhsah. Now, to leave the doubtful here is not to take that rukhsah, not to take that allowance. But let's say that's proven that the hadith says that you are allowed to take this allowance. There, it doesn't matter how much they differ. You will take the words of Rasulullah so long that you have the correct understanding of it. And this is something that you will learn more when you're studying fiqh according to the traditional way, not the contemporary way that is pretty much giving you the surface of it, giving you the very crisp of at the top, and not giving you the in-depth of it. You will find it. When you study this, you'll find it. طيب. We move on to the other one, and that is leaving the doubtful matters is to the one, or should not be done in a way of pick and choose. Meaning, an individual could be someone who is careless to so many things, but in one specific topic he wants to be now cautious. This person is not the one who this hadith applies to. This person is not the one who will be rewarded for that type of cautiousness. Because Islam is not about pick and choose. It's not about that. Umar ibn Umar, he had a person from the people of Iraq coming to him asking, is the blood of the mosquito pure or impure? He said, what a question. And he asked why he said that. He said they didn't differ about the blood of al-Hasan being lawful, and they are differing now, is the blood of the mosquito impure. They didn't differ about his blood being pure, but now they want to differ about a mosquito. So to him it was a contradiction. And what a head, what a way of thinking. You go and do the major sins, and then when it comes to the minor topics you want to be all pick and choose. This is nothing special. This is nothing but a sign of an individual being someone who is pick and choose. Unfortunately, an individual might go on to leave a doubtful topic. For example, to some wearing black is doubtful. I mean it. To some people, they say you should not wear a black hat. I'm not picking on anyone who's wearing one because I'm not against the person. Not unless there is clear tashabbuh in that to people who have corrupt beliefs. And it's known to be their symbol, then we'll leave it because we don't want to do tashabbuh to them. But let's say, and it happened to me once, I was wearing a black thawb after a sermon, an individual lectures me full on. Ittaqillah azza wa jal. You should leave such clothing. You should be an example. How could you wear black? And I'm listening. And wallahi, I feared at that time that my words would be revenging for myself. I said, Akhi, is this something that is قال الله قال Rasulullah, based on the ijma' of the salaf, based on something that's certain and he said, it's obvious. I go, no way. It's obvious to you, but to me it's not. Now let's say it's one of the doubtful matters. Let's say it. And especially as people who are looked up to and people who address people, let's say since it's doubtful, I'm going to leave it. Okay, my brother, with all my love and respect, what about the bead? Is it an obligation? Or is it a recommendation? Or is it a mubah? You know what happened? Wallahi, zipped his mouth, got angry and walked off. Okay, subhanallah. You advising me of that which is clear to me, it's halal. And when I advised you of that which is clearly mentioned in the sunnah to be a must, you had a problem with me. But the point is, we don't want to be that individual that picks whatever he wants, chooses whatever he wants, and while he's not cautious of the major matters, the major topics. Person could be someone who doesn't even pray. Then the next thing, that individual wants to be all cautious, he's going and saying, Ya akhi, don't buy from that butcher. Halal, no problems. No problems what you said, my brother. But you're contradicting your state. Someone like you who's going to be that cautious and start talking shouldn't be in a state where he's living his prayer then. And it goes on, my brothers. So, cautiousness is something good where a person doesn't make it to follow his desire and his whims. It's where it's done out of taqwa, piety, where it's done with knowledge. Another example, it's proven through the Quran or through the Sunnah that so and so is the Sunnah. It's Sunnah, ya akhi, it's proven. Says, but I'm still doubtful. Go, why? Because my madhab doesn't say that. My madhab doesn't state that. I'm not one of those people, by the way, who encourages any individual to go on to badmouth the scholars of the madhab and their students. And I am against any individual who talks like that. And I say such individual should be silenced. The da'wah of Ahl Sunnah and the Salaf is to respect the people of knowledge and to give them the state that they deserve, the state that they deserve. But here we're talking about an issue where it's proven that there's a Sunnah versus what he's accustomed to, or that which he's learned to be the madhab. Tells you, I'm still doubtful. Akhi, why are you doubtful? It's proven to you. قال الله, قال رسول. This is the understanding of the Salaf towards this. And it's as clear as the moon on a dark night, my brother. Tells you, I'm still doubtful, I won't do it. It's no issues there. But remember that here you're leaving what you're certain of to that which you're in doubt. This is a very dangerous one, my brothers. This is a very dangerous one. Another one, another example, the individual would not accept something to be, would not accept it out of cautiousness. Why? Because it goes against his culture. It goes against his way of living. And you tell him, ya akhi, we're Muslims, alhamdulillah. And I don't doubt your Islam. I believe, inshallah, I believe you're a Muslim. According to what I see, you're a Muslim, ya akhi. I should not doubt you. But at the end of the day, I'm saying to you, قال الله, قال Rasulullah, based on your understanding that is correct, which is applied to our time and place. Tells you, but it's not in my culture, not in my tradition. But ya akhi, we're talking about that which is certain. Now, again, this is leaving what you're certain about to that which you are in doubt about. Let's take another scenario, my brothers. Let's take another scenario. An individual will go on to reject an opinion. Reject it straight away. And the proofs are presented. Why? Now we spoke about the madhahib. Now we're saying now because he didn't hear it from his shaykh. What a head. Seriously, what a head. Or let me give you another scenario. And this is something that I really find it's dangerous. Where there's an ijma' or not an ijma', let's say it has a saying by the majority of scholars. The little katkut, the little, I don't want to say the words, easily rejects the ijma' or the opinion of the majority, assuming it's wrong straight away. Why? Because it's in opposition to the hadith. Straight away. Without even learning what did they say about that hadith, what did they comment about it, without even understanding, is it something that the Sahaba, how did the Sahaba take it or anything. This is something I find from my junior brothers. They go and listen to a talk on YouTube, they listen to a hyped up hip hop talk, and I mean it, and the next thing they think they're staunches. And they can go on to doubt matters as they wish. Why? Because they're learning now with certainty. What kind of a certainty is this? What certainty are you talking about? So understand, my brothers, at the end of the day, leaving what you're in doubt of to that which you are not in doubt of is not a pick and choose game. But it's a state that a person lives. It's a state where a person applies in his life, and it has its understanding, it has its rulings. But then another thing that I would like to say, at times we have our brothers having this mentality of just leave it. Why? It's doubtful. Yeah, it's doubtful to you. To you it's doubtful, my brother. To me, it's nowhere near doubtful. To me, it's black and white. To you, it's up to you, my brother. You do not have a right, my brothers, in such topics where it's not clear, black and white, to go and dictate to people what to think and believe, where they are following with that an understanding that is valid, or at least that is given by people of understanding and knowledge. This is an important one. Yeah, just because you're in doubt doesn't mean that you have the right to go and dictate to the world to be in doubt. And this is where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, الحلال بين والحرام بين وبينهما أمور مشتبهات لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. The halal is clear, the haram is clear, and in between are matters that are not clear. Not many people know about it. But when he said not many people know about it, it indicates what? The knowledge of it is known to people. And they can speak about it. And they know what they're talking about. So understand this too. And I hate it when our brothers just insist on being ignorant. Really, knowledge is something that we are commanded to seek. It should be a state that we live constantly to seek knowledge. So therefore, we should really go on to always find what will put us at certainty. Always go and learn so that you can become certain and certain and certain and certain. Look at this one. Talking to a brother. Actually, sorry, my apologies. He brings up the topic to me. What's the ruling of so-and-so? My answer, I was taught to begin with that which is certain. قال الله, قال رسول, and then if there's any room to differ, we'll tell them, and the scholars did differ about the understanding of this verse or this hadith, and the conclusion is 1, 2, 3. It's my way of doing it. So I started like this, I said, nah, there's difference of opinion. Okay, alright, I'm going to remove everything I said, I'm going to erase it all. I'm going to say what you just said now. There's difference of opinion. What's next? He's like, no, I'm just telling you, there's difference of opinion. Okay, what's next? Was I ordered to go and look for difference of opinion? Was I ordered to go and search and keep on searching to be more and more in a state where there's difference of opinion? Yes, you are required as a student of knowledge to widen your understanding, to be that individual who can understand causes and reasons for differences and know how to deal with it and know how to tackle it from its sources. That's what we should be aspiring to reach. But not go on to just look for differences and not know how to deal with it and not know what the reasons of the differences are and so on. Yani, the aim isn't to learn that there's difference of opinion. No. That's not the aim. The aim is to learn how to get out of difference of opinion. How to not be in doubt. At the same time, how to deal with the person who opposes you. So the aim is not to reach that level where you can say, there's difference of opinion. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing special about you then. So this is the hadith about leave what you're in doubt of to that which you are not in doubt of. And it goes on to not only your religious matters, your worships, but it goes on to everything in life. You could look at an individual, he's a Muslim, prays, he's 1, 2, 3. You can't go and assume things about him as you wish. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ. The next thing, you're accusing your brother without any evidences, without any allowances to do so. No, you leave what you're in doubt of to that which you're not in doubt of. You can't judge individuals based on what you can't see. You judge based on what you can see. Something incredible from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why didn't he go on to kill the hypocrites? Believe me, he was able to kill them all, one by one. And he knew them. But one beautiful thing he said, and people at times stop at the surface of what he said and don't really understand in depth what he meant. He said, دعه لئلا يقول الناس أن محمدا يقتل أصحابه. Leave him so that people don't say Muhammad kills his companions. People, you ask him, why didn't he kill him? Why did he kill the hypocrites? So that people don't say that he kills his companions. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam pretty much said, but did you understand exactly what he meant? What he's really meant is that a judge, and what's derived from it, you can say, is that a judge can only judge with what is apparent, not by what he knows. Meaning, that he may know something, but if he can't prove it in the evidences presented, then he can't rule by that. Person might know for sure that he is guilty, but he can't prove it. What did Islam tell you? Let's say, with the issue of zina. What did Islam say about the lady the lady that's caught cheating on her husband? Said you have to present evidences. Like, what if you can't present evidences? What were you commanded to do? You can separate if you want. But you can't go on to accuse her of zina. Why? Present your evidences, otherwise you'll be lashed. You'll be the one who's going to be now punished because you are accusing her without evidence. But what if he knows it? I know it for sure. Prove it. Prove it. So the point is, you find it in the Sharia. البينة على المدعي واليمين على من أنكر. البينة, the evidence is required to be brought by the one who's making a claim. And the one who's denying, he is required to swear by Allah that he's truthful. The point is, evidences have to be presented. When we look at the seerah of the Prophet, look at the seerah of the companions, you find that. So, this is something that we apply even in our lives with people. That we leave what we're in doubt of to that which we are not in doubt of. Now